Hey people, it is Tuesday, June the 1st, and it is 3:49 in the afternoon, and it is 23 degrees Celsius. And I'm here at the corner of Bloor Street West and Queen's Park. And I'll be walking south here along Queen's Park, and then through the actual park known as Queen's Park. And then from there I'll walk south along University Avenue. So just north of Bloor, the street changes names and becomes Avenue Road. And then just for this short stretch, it's known as Queen's Park. And then south of College Street, it's known as University Avenue. And this is one of the more grand streets in the downtown, lined with lots of institutional type buildings and public buildings and hospitals further down. Up here at this end, you have the Royal Ontario Museum. And this old neoclassical building, Department of Household Science. I guess that's what it was originally known as. Now it's part of the University of Toronto. And it was also home to a Club Monaco store fronting on Bloor Street, but that's closed down now. And here we have the Gardner Museum. It's a ceramics museum. And lots more buildings that are part of the University of Toronto line both sides here of Queen's Park. And today is also the last day of the stay-at-home order. That restriction will be lifted tomorrow. And then in 2 weeks, more restrictions will be lifted. And in-store shopping and outdoor dining will be permitted again, along with some other restrictions. This is the old McLaughlin Planetarium. It's been closed down for many years now, and there's a proposal to replace it with a new building for the University of Toronto. It's kind of too bad. It's always cool to have a planetarium in the city, but I believe there are plans to build a new planetarium elsewhere on the U of T campus. There's Museum Subway Station. It's often regarded as the most attractive subway station in terms of interior decor. If you're curious about that, I do have an old video where I did a tour through the museum station. Here we have more U of T buildings. Here we are about to enter Queen's Park itself. The Ontario Legislature is at the south end of Queen's Park, and it's often called Queen's Park. It's sort of just a catch-all name to describe the provincial government. People say Queen's Park, it can mean the provincial government, it can mean this park here, or it can mean the street. Or it can mean all three, which it usually does. So this is my favorite downtown park. I just think it has a really nice urban kind of character to it. It's fair size, lots of trees, and it's within sight of the skyscrapers of the financial district and all the way up to Yorkville, sort of like ringing the park on one side, and on the other side you have the U of T campus, which is also full of beautiful old historic buildings and lots of greenery.
So this book, it's all about that.
And there's also big statues. I think a big city park downtown needs lots of big statues. You'll go this way. So I'm not sure which way I should go, west or east. I chose east. You can see they're doing some work on the park here, and they really let it grow wild here. They basically fenced off that part of the park to allow it to regenerate without people trampling all over it, to give it a rest, basically. A rest from human feet and human bodies. I'm not sure how long of a rest it needs before people are allowed back on that section. It's been at least a year, I think, that it's been resting. So this is Queen's Park Crescent East. It loops around the park, and on the other side you'll find Queen's Park Crescent West. And this is the back of the provincial legislature. We'll see the front side there in a few minutes. We're just crossing Wellesley Street.
I would go get the most exotic, like best money could buy.
I was almost expecting those security guys to say something. Hey, you can't record on the grounds of the provincial legislature. Even though there's literally a TV crew right here. That would have been my comeback. Well, they can record, why can't I? But that's all moot because they didn't say a thing, as they shouldn't have anyway. And that is quite the antenna there. Here's the front. And that's also the site of the Moving Pictures Rush album cover. So if any of you own that album, just take a look at the cover, and this is what you'll see. I believe that's a memorial for the children that they found buried underneath the former residential school in British Columbia. That's been dominating the news here in Canada for the last several days. So now we're heading towards University Avenue. This awesome vista looking straight south here. And this box here is actually protecting a statue of Canada's first Prime Minister, John A. Macdonald, that has stood here for, I don't know how long, like probably 100 years. But he's just recently become a controversial figure, and people started vandalizing the statue. So they had to cover it up and put a sign on it explaining why the statue is currently covered up. Because who knew that a 19th century man might not live up to our modern standards of what is considered proper in his terms of views on various subjects. And that's all I'll say about that. Your Queen's Park subway station. And now we're crossing College Street. Now we're coming into what is known as Hospital Row. And it's also the beginning of rush hour, although rush hour is still not quite, what we would normally consider to be rush hour here in the city. It's definitely still on the quiet side as far as rush hours go. But it does seem to be picking up. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There seems to be more people on the street, more traffic congestion. This is the Princess Margaret Hospital. And across the street is the Toronto General Hospital. Some of these hospital buildings are old classic buildings with modern additions. And this is Mount Sinai Hospital. It's a more thoroughly modern building. And across the street is the famous Sick Kids Hospital, properly known as the Hospital for Sick Children. And here's the western terminus of Gerrard Street. From here you can take Gerrard all the way through downtown into the East End. And it'll stretch on through Chinatown East and Little India.
We're going that way. Man, I'm taking my mask off. I'm suffocated. I know. Me too. I don't anymore. I'm vaccinated. Oh, sorry. No, that's okay. I sometimes I walk so fast. I don't realize when you turn it up.
So that was the Hospital Row portion of University Avenue. Now from this point south we'll move into what will become the financial district. This is regarded as the sort of western border of the financial district. There's a look down Elm Street. And there's an old office building that is being redeveloped. The new skyscraper, which will be perched on top. Very similar to what they did right across the street here, which I will show you in a minute. And this was an old office building that they stripped down and reclad and then built a condo tower on top, increasing its overall height from around 17 stories to about 50 stories. And the same thing is being done here to this building, except this building will not be reclad as far as I know. Its old classic look will be retained, with some slight modifications, I'm sure, but a new modern tower will rise up on top. And they've incorporated a new entrance to St. Patrick's subway station here. It's nice to be able to walk by here with an open sidewalk. For the longest time this was all covered up with construction hoarding. There's another look up at the building. And this is Dundas Street. Heading west, you'll head through Chinatown. And heading east, take you through Little Tokyo. And then off in the distance, you can see some of the billboards at Dundas Square. This is another old classic building that was preserved with a new building perched on top. It's not too bad, maybe a bit awkward, but it's nice that that old building is preserved. I'd rather have it be there in some form than not there at all. So as you can see, this is a very wide street here, and it was wider before they added these bike lanes. It's by far the biggest, widest street running through the downtown, and has a median running down the middle with lots of greenery and more statues. And there you can see the financial district looming ahead. I'm just going to let that very loud talking man get ahead of me. He's practically yelling at her, even though they're literally joined at the hand. Maybe she's hard of hearing, or maybe he's just a loud talker.
Exactly a year. So, like I said, like thinking it's somebody that had the exact same grandparents as me.
And there's the courthouse building. And under construction is a new courthouse building. And here you can see the Canada Life building. It's one of the most beautiful old office buildings in this part of downtown. And that old building across the way is Osgoode Hall. And you can see Toronto City Hall there popping up with its curved blank facade facing us on one of the two towers. There's two curving towers facing towards one another, with windows on the front but just a blank wall of concrete on the back. And here's another look up at the Canada Life building. And that's cool. You can't see the CN Tower from here, but you can see its reflection in that recently reclad building that used to be clad in black glass. And I thought it looked better before, to be honest, than it does now with its blue glass facade. But before you couldn't see the reflection of the CN Tower in it like you can now, so I suppose that's something. And this is where there's a fountain usually running here. I'm not sure if they will turn it on this year. Hopefully they will. And here's Osgood subway station. Now we've reached Queen Street. There's the Four Seasons Center for the Performing Arts. The Canadian Opera Company. It's located there. And now we're coming right into the financial district. There's another look north. And this is where the sort of grand boulevard look of University Avenue comes to an end. As it goes through the financial district, it narrows down to a more typical city street. This is Richmond Street. And here's some very interesting artwork here. And that's Momofuku Restaurant up there. And this is the Shangri-La Hotel and Residences. It's a very upscale hotel and condos. And here we are at Adelaide Street. It's a very impressive skyscraper canyon. West down Pearl Street. And there's St. Andrew's subway station. Here's King Street. This is regarded as one of the main streets of the financial district, along with Bay Street. King and Bay is known as the heart of the financial district. There's Wellington Street. There you can see the TD Center towers, those black office towers. And there's some music playing at Jack Astor's. I'll just cross here. This place isn't really made for people right here. So this is pretty much the end of University Avenue. Kind of curves here and converges with York Street at Front Street. And then continuing south, it is York Street once you go south of Front. There you can see the CIBC Square Tower, office tower, and Union Station. And there we go. There's the big boy. And the Royal York Hotel. So that's it. We have reached the end of University Avenue. That's looking south down York Street. So I hope you enjoyed the walk, starting from Bloor and Queen's Park, and south along Queen's Park through Queen's Park, and then continuing south along University Avenue to end here at Front Street and York Street. So leave a comment below, let me know your thoughts, and make sure you like and share, and of course subscribe if you haven't already. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description for my PayPal and my new merch store. And make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And be sure to keep checking back because, as always, I will continue.